Hello, this is Mark from I Am Organic Gardening on this beautiful winter day. Now, this is not typical of our weather here in the state of New Jersey in Zone 6B. It's currently 65 degrees, and our weather forecast tomorrow is we're supposed to get a foot of snow in about 4 hours. So, I'm going to go out now with that yellow wheelbarrow and collect some fall leaves which are out in the field in piles, and I'm going to start making my own homemade potting soil. So here I am in front of my greenhouse. This is about 10 leaf piles that was delivered to me last November. They have received no extra help from me. They were just dumped there. They're originally about 4 feet tall, and now they're about 2 feet tall. I didn't chop them up any further or nothing. I just let them sit there. They kind of compress down that holds the leaves in place so the wind doesn't blow away. Some of them have leaves that will blow away over time. Now, it doesn't matter where you collect the leaves. You can take it from the top, the bottom, the middle, wherever you prefer. It's all going to be reduced down the same way. There's no advantage of how wet the material is or how dry it is. It all kind of mixes together, and you'll see later on that it doesn't really affect anything when you start grinding them down. I'm going to grab a handful and I'll show you. You can see here that they're dry and also wet on the bottom here. But it's all fine. They're just going to be lightly scattered over top of a screen, and then we're going to chop them up and make it into a really fine potting soil. I have enough that I need right now, so let's go back up in the barn and we'll start chopping them up. I just got everything set up and the winds are starting to pick up a little bit. I think we're going to get our storm in earlier, so I'm going to move everything to the basement of my house and I'll explain it from there. You can see those beautiful big snow clouds starting to come in. So now I'm in the basement of my house. This is my rooting room and my grow lights here. They're on adjustable pulleys, so the lights can go up and down per the blue heating mats on top of the table. Now, sometimes I use the heating mats and sometimes I don't. It depends on the type of seeds I'll grow, and I'll get into that later on. So right now we're going to grind up the leaves. So what's on the tabletop here is the wire mesh that's going to go inside the plastic tray you'll see in a little bit here. Now, also, I have here is a 2x4 with the same wire mesh. It's about a 1/4 inch spacing, or maybe it's 1/8, but you can see the mesh, and it's just lightly screwed onto the board here. So what you're making is really a grater, almost like a cheese grater. And when those two wires meet together, they grind up the leaves, and I'll show you. So we start with our empty bucket underneath. Then I just use a plastic tray. Now these trays, if you go to a farmer's market, you can ask a farmer and then offer them around $3. You can buy them. They're beautiful. They do everything around the home that you can possibly imagine. Now if you can't get a plastic tray, you can build the same type of item out of a wood, like a wood frame, and just put the wire mesh on top. Now this, I don't know if you can see it on the camera or not, is a wire mesh, and it's about a 1/4 inch openings on each of the holes, and I just fit it to size to go right into the tray. Now I'll just take my leaves here and I'll place them. You pretty much want to stick into the middle of the tray. Now you can do two things. If the leaves don't grind nicely for you, they might be too dry, so you can always spray a little bit of water on them. Not a lot, just a little bit, to kind of hold them in place. And now with your little homemade grater, because you got the metal grate on the bottom, and then there's just screws in. Make sure you use screws instead of nails to apply this. It's just a round mesh that goes around the bottom of the board, and I just screw it on because basically this is your replacement blade. Once this kind of smooths out too much, then you can just unscrew it on the corners and then put a new piece on. And just go back and forth on it. And then you'll get your, this is your potting soil, your mixture here. You can see how it grinds it up nicely. And then what you want to do is take this and you want to wet it and you want to keep it soaked for about 24 hours. And then when you're done with this, then you apply it into your trays. Now I have two types of seeding trays here. These are 60 count. There's 60 holes or 60 individual cells, and they're about 1.5 inches by 1.5 inches. And these are 100 to a flat. Now you can see they're a lot smaller. It all depends on what seed goes in there. I'm not going to go into it too much in detail on this video, but I will on another one. So now we have our potting soil that's wet, and it's just strictly leaves that has been grounded down. Now what I do next, before I place the seeds in, I'll take a look on the back of my seed package here, and it says to go down about 1/4 inch deep. So instead of making individual holes, I just take another of the same type of tray and I just push down in the soil about 1/4 inch, that deep. It's from the top here. Now I'll just open it up, my seed package here, gently because they always spill out. And I'll just take the seeds and I'll just put 1 or 2. This is kale. And I'll just lay it in the middle on each side. Right in the middle. So now there's kale in each one. Then I'll just come back. I have a bucket of worm castings here. Now this is what my worm castings look like. It almost looks like coffee grounds. Now you can buy them online also too. And I just fill up the rest of the tray, the top part, with worm castings. Like so. I don't tap it down or nothing else either. And I just leave that as is. Now I'll come back. Since this tray here is inside another tray, I water from the bottom up. I will go back and fill this up with water now. And then it will wick up from the bottom of the tray to the top, and then keeps this saturated. And then also too, then it will activate this as almost like a tea, and then go back down and bring all those nutrients back to the seed and also on top. It's a great start. And also, that to keep the moisture in there, I buy some plastic domes, and I've been doing this for a while, and all this I save year to year, so it's a one-time investment, and then I just keep it, and then I clean it up every year, and I replanted it. I don't use bleach or anything else either. And also I want to share this other tip with you. Now this has been told to me by other farmers. There's really no scientific research on it, but when you water inside a tray and from the bottom up starting your seedlings, and you have your fertilizer or your worm castings on top, what the water is doing is going past the root first and hydrating that root. So now that root is fresh and open to nutrients. Now when the water goes back down after time, it will carry those nutrients and go past that root, and then will feed the plant. Now in nature, obviously we're watering from the top all the time into the garden. Now the difference is that you're supposed to, that's why you have wood chips or grass or a mulch on top. That's why you want to keep your soil moist, not wet. Soil is always supposed to be a little bit hydrated. So usually in this scenario, these trays will dry out very quickly for you. So watering from the bottom up will hydrate the root again, thus also takes the material here. If you ever notice, if you use different material, that these will shrink in time, so then it will actually open this up again, so it doesn't let the water to go by. So if you water from the top, it doesn't go over to the side, it goes strictly down. It hydrates it and then expands again, and thus it takes the organic matter from the worm castings and nutrients and goes past that root and does a much better job for you. So there you have it, a nice organic potting soil, just using leaves and worm castings. And I wish to thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you shortly. If you haven't done so, please subscribe. Thanks. Enjoy your day.